Dear Captain's video diary. Not gonna lie, I forgot the password to open you, and my repair tool broke down. While trying to repair it, which is kinda ironic, I know, I took a huge shock from it. But on the bright side, I remember the password! Too bad it wasn't yours. Without any other solution, to my knowledge at least, the only other option I found was headbutting the pad until I kindly convinced it to unlock itself. It might have had some dents here and there, but I repaired it with my freshly repaired repairing tool. Let me update you on what happened in the meanwhile. The one who programmed the computer might not have been a medic as I previously told you, but he surely was a witty bastard. Of course my favorite activity is swimming. Unlike a certain famous someone, I can only swim in water. Also, do you remember when I downloaded by mistake those blueprints? Well, I wanted to board the Aurora to recover my collection, but when I got close enough, the computer told me that the radiation might affect my body. Now, I can't lie to you, dear diary, I always wanted a second testicle, but not growing on my forehead, so I kinda refrained myself from going nearby it. On a related note, do you remember when I told you about Johnny? Who knows? Johnny might still be alive! Well, let's just say he's forgiven. May you rest in peace, my precious collection. But I won't lose hope, no. Not until I come looking for you. Just you wait. On a related note to the related note, do you also remember when I told you about searching for survivors? By next time I'll share my thoughts with you, I will probably try to find some survivors. Well, they are forgiven too. The reason I'm saying that is because the repeating message I was listening to was actually a real SOS request from LifePod 3. I'm not sure if it was because of the mushrooms or because of the previously mentioned day-night cycle of the planet, but it took me a while to realize it was a real message. But after all, I'm a survivor, not an astrophysician? Astrophysician, I think. Of course, to reach the pod, which I got the coordinates for, I needed something to get there faster, cause there is no way I would swim over there on my own, even with my newly created fins. With the plants I used to craft the fins, at first I wanted to make a salad, but then I found out what sacred item I could craft instead, and my hunger got replaced with another type of hunger. Wink wink. Going back to the distance between me and the pod, the computer finally became somewhat useful, suggesting me the creation of a thing she called Sea Glider, and after getting the grocery list to create it, I, somehow, crammed everything into the fabricator and got my new and favorite mean of transport. Fuck you and your favorite activity, Discount GLaDOS. So I reached the LifePod 3 and found out they tried to swim with a rigged sea glide. The big hole I found in the pod seemed like a strange way to exit from it, but then again, I'm a survivor, not a mechanic. Inside it I found a pad that made me relate a lot to one of the crew members. Like him with math, I too would also be terrified if I stopped thinking about my dearly precious collection. Outside the pod, I found a fish whose length is rivaled only by my heavy machine gun. Differently from my shrunk though, it had teeth and tried to bite my ass. But the Japanese chef inside me took out the knife and tried to make sashimi out of it. But due to the odds and environmental disadvantages, I decided for a tactical retreat. After all, I'm a tactical survivor, not a survivor. When I got back to my pod, I got another distress call and I immediately recognized the voice. It was Ozzy from the cafeteria. It used to give me 3 extra servings of friarielli and an extra of ubabba, and he was calling for help. So I found myself answering faster than I answer booty calls, but I realized I'm an idiot and that it was a pre-recorded message. I rushed there as fast as I could, but not before crafting a better oxygen tank, which I totally did by myself and did not obtain from pod number 3. While on the way I found moving islands with tentacles. And eyes? They have weird islands here. Then I realized that I'm underwater so they couldn't be islands, and on a closer inspection I realized it's a what the fuck is that big thing? It might not be accurate, but you can agree it's fitting. But I'm gonna go into details about the fauna around here another time. Inside the pod I didn't find Ozzy, nor any of his cibo napoletano. I'm starting to think that something is wrong around here, because I'm pretty sure Ozzy is a cook and not a survivor, so it's weird he wasn't here waiting for rescue. Also, I'm starting to think that these giant holes aren't willingly made as a way out of the pod. While going back I found a cavern in which the computer detected an artificial structure. I tried to reach it, but the oxygen at my disposal wasn't enough for a depth exploration, plus I was scared of the dark. So I decided to go back to the pod where I got a radio message from a certain Sunbeam, in which they mentioned a chance of a rescue mission from their part. While waiting for news from them, I got warned about the radiation from the Aurora, and only then Discount GLaDOS thought it would be convenient to give me the blueprint of the radiation suit. Heh, stupid bitch. And so, to flip two fingers in one motion, because I was never able to hit two birds with one stone, I decided to focus on creating both the radiation suit and the flashlight. I also crafted a scanner not too long ago, but not knowing how to use it, I tried to find out by scanning some rocks to discover what materials they could offer. But I'm pretty sure I did something wrong in the process. Going back to the pod with some new materials, I crafted something that I casually saw while scrolling the various blueprints. It was a rebreather. My thought process was that it allowed me to breathe twice every time I breathed normally. That's when I started doing and the computer told me it didn't quite work like that, destroying my dreams in the meanwhile. After that I took a look around to see what I had at my disposal, and that's when I saw it. An intact cabin on the bottom of the ocean. That's when my hope flared up. Inside there might be my dearly beloved precious collection. But unfortunately I only found trash and useless blueprints. But my hope lives. I will scour the entire planet if needed, in the hopes of finding it. After taking the necessary precautions for a deep dive, I went to the abandoned base that the computer had detected earlier. As I entered the base, I saw some weird jelly plants. I couldn't refrain myself from touching them, and they stung like hell. And mommy was not there to kiss my boo-boo. Or that's what I thought at the time at the very least, you know? While exploring the base, I found a very interesting blueprint. But that's not important. What is important is that I found a pet and gave it a listen. I'm pretty sure I recognized the voice of my grandpa, which disappeared about 30 years ago. He was the one that gifted me his collection, and by gifted I mean stolen, which started the build-up of my current dearly beloved splendid precious collection. Back at the base, I started being tired of staying in that small pod, so I asked Miss GLaDOS for help. She told me,
"Stop being a circuit licker, and find a way to construct a habitat builder."
And I think I also heard her calling me a fucking idiot.
Yes, I
but
did.
That might have been the win.
No, it was me.
After building it, I started using it. Perfect. Just perfect. Sadly, my dream base was not structurally safe, so I had to think of a new base, which I started building and organizing immediately. After that, the Sunbeam contacted me again with an ATA and a rendezvous point. But, dear Captain's video diary, I will tell you about it next time. Up until then, Captain out.